Here's a fantastic DIY for a balcony or a veranda, especially where space is a problem. It's a Murphy table, and what that is, it's a table that folds out from the wall all the way down, and you've got yourself a table. Whether or not you use it as a bar or a picnic area, you can even add additional benches which work on the exact same concept, and you've got yourself a perfect, fantastic seating area, bar area, perfect place for you to eat. This table is made out of just over half a sheet of 18mm plywood. Really cheap and cost-effective DIY. Likewise for the two benches as well, just over half a sheet of plywood to make two benches to match the table as well. As for materials we're using 18mm shutter ply. Take the cutting list down to the guys at Builders and they'll cut it all to size for you. We've got some 4x30mm screws, we've got some wood glue, we've got some rubber stoppers to act as feet on the bottom of the table, we've got a latch, and we've got some hinges. We've also got some accessories like handles just to make it easier to lift up and down. Now as for dressing the timber and sealing it, I'm making use of the Woodworks from Fired Earth. I'm going with Mboya stain. It's a stain and sealer in one, and we'll be applying that with a paintbrush. As for the tools you need, all you need is a cordless drill, a drill bit to go into masonry, and a sander. Now guys, this DIY really is so easy to do. I'm actually going to build it here on the existing table. Let's move this guy out the way. And this is the first set of plywood, enough to make the tabletop or the front piece on the side here. Both pieces are exactly the same. So everything we do now, we're just going to duplicate to make for the other side. I'm going to start off with just using two pieces and we're going to build our framework. Now, I've got a square table, so I'm going to use these edges to make sure that I keep each slat square and straight. Now we're basically building a framework structure, okay? We're building it upside down. We've got some braces we're going to come across here to join those two pieces together, and down the sides and across the middle. We're going to put some wood glue between all those mating surfaces and then screw those down into the frame. Right, remember wood glue between the mating surfaces. If you have got a clamp, make use of a clamp to clamp it down. Otherwise, hold it tight, and as you screw it down, just check to make sure it does stay aligned. Especially with the wood glue, it can start to slide around a little bit. Okay, next piece goes in are our two side pieces and our middle. Now the screws I'm using are cut screws. So what they do is they actually cut a hole as they drill through the timber into the pieces that you're working on. So you don't need to use a pilot hole, especially if you're not going too close to the edge. All right, there's our structure. We just need to now put in our next two slats on the top. And as for getting the even spacing on the gaps, we're just going to eyeball it and make sure we get them even. You can measure or you can use spacers if you want to. Okay, that's the first piece complete of our tabletop. Simple, easy, quick to do. It is going to be quite difficult to paint in these gaps. So an added tip is before you put these two pieces on, you can actually paint and seal those inside edges before you apply these guys. It's entirely up to you, but our focal point is to show you how to build this structure, and then we can sand it down and stain it up afterwards. So that's the first piece done. That's the top piece. It's exactly the same process for the side piece. I'm going to save some time. I've made one earlier, and let's start assembling it so we can show you how these two pieces connect together. There you can see both pieces are exactly the same. Right, we're going to flip this guy up. Okay, now how are we going to join these two pieces together? We're just making use of some butt hinges on the underside, and let's show you how simple this really is to do. Okay, so we're going to line this up. I like to use a wall, then I know it's square. And then I'm just going to pop my hinge into position. Now often the screws that come with the hinges aren't that great, so I actually like to use my own screws. I'm using the same ones that we use for the rest of the project. There you go, I'm happy with that. And now we're going to put 2 feet on the bottom, and that's just going to raise it off the ground slightly so the bottom wood piece is not sitting on the ground all the time, and it's got a softer rubber bump stop when you place it down in position. And at the same time, we're going to position our handle in the middle of the board, evenly spaced, but you're going to bring it down enough distance, 95 mils will be enough, just to accommodate sitting in a position where it's only single board thickness. If you do it too near the top, you're going to be sitting in double thickness, and the screws that the handle comes with are not going to be long enough to screw it to the tables. Now the bit that I'm actually using is a multi-bit. It's ideal for drilling through wood and for masonry, which is perfect for this drill, which doesn't have a hammer function. If your drill had a hammer function and you were using that on masonry, you'll be using a proper masonry bit used for hammer functions. Right, that's the structure complete. Now, before you put the handle on, you need to allow this glue to dry, then give it a good sand down and seal it with the wood stain and wood sealer. Remember, I'm using the Fired Earth Woodworks. It's water-based and it's ideal for outdoor environment. So make sure you put at least 2 to 3 coats of that on. Once you've sanded down your table, stained it and sealed it, it's now time to assemble it to the wall. The first thing you need to do is to open up the table and get it into position and make use of a spirit level to ensure that the tabletop is level. Once that's in place and you're happy that it's level, just mark up a line on the edge of the wall, and that's going to be the top edge of your hinges. Make a little mark on the wall exactly where you want your positions of the hinges. Then you can remove this and move it out the way. From there, I'm using a 6mm multi-bit all the way into the wall as per the positions on my hinge, which I'm going to mark up on the wall. Once that's in position, I'm going to make use of some wall plugs. These are 6mm wall plugs. We're going to pop those into the holes that you've pre-drilled, and then we can use the screws to screw those hinges to the wall itself. So basically what you've got is a table which is separate from the wall, and your hinges are now mounted on the wall on their own. Now here comes the juggling part. You definitely need a second pair of hands for this, so please get somebody to help you. What you're going to do is you're going to take your table up. You're going to hold it into position. Remember, it's loose, it's not fixed to the wall, and you're going to bring it down till it rests on the outside of those hinges. Then it can take the weight, and then you can just flip the flap up and drive your screws in on the underside there. Once those screws are into position, it's now fastened to the wall. All that you need to do next is make use of the latch. So when you lift it up, you can slide your latch into position and it stays to the wall itself. Again, same procedure. Drill through into the wall, position your latch into place, and use the wall plugs to mount that firmly to the wall. When it comes to the benches, it's more or less exactly the same as the table, except it's only 2 slats. And the legs are slightly shorter. Everything is exactly the same principle. Make use of the cutting list that I've used. You can adjust it if you want to adjust the heights, and that folds down in the exact same manner as the table. So this DIY is actually perfect if you've got limited space on a balcony and veranda and you still want to have all your friends around, show off your area, show off your DIYs, and have a comfy spot where you can enjoy a gin or a beer or two and have all your friends and family around to enjoy. And at the same time, this DIY is so easy, you can even do it out on your balcony with the sun shining, with all the neighbors' dogs barking away, as you probably heard throughout this DIY. The most important thing is that you love the DIY. If you enjoyed this clip, like it, share it. You can also subscribe to our Builders Fan YouTube channel where we have a whole load of product reviews and DIYs just like this for you to give it a go, replicate, and get it done.